Okay guys, so I'm back. I have my Clear resin, as I told you about, already over here mixed up and ready to go. I have like about I think I have about 60 mLs mixed up here. So for now, I basically am just going to fill the bubbles. And I'm going to put these little flag things that I mentioned into those bubbles as we do that. So what I wanted to do first was maybe drop some of those into this resin carefully. Maybe do it the other way around. Pour some of that into here. I don't want to use too much, just to like kind of help coat these so that when we put them in the bubbles and we fill the bubbles with resin, we won't like add any bubbles or like add any unnecessary bubbles into our bubble, if that makes sense. I'm talking about like surface bubbles, or we don't want any bubbles in there from using something that's not already coated in resin first. So if you're going to add something into your bubbles, I suggest that you coat it with resin first, whether it's flowers or, charms, beads, whatever. So I have that, and I think for now I'll also just go ahead and run some clear around the bottom of these bubbles. I hope everyone is doing well and is enjoying the weather. I know here in Boston it's not too hot just yet, at least not today. I mean, we've had a few real hot days, but not super hot just yet. But I mean, it's fast approaching us. But today is not that bad. I'm sitting in front of my open window, so if you guys hear background noises, I'm sorry. In my neighborhood, they're like out, landscaping, so you might hear that from time to time. So I have that. Now I'm going to go ahead and just, like I said, add these in. And you can do this like, with your fingers. You can do it with, anything that you choose to use to help get it in there. I'm going to try it with this. I don't know if this, well, it seems like it will help. Or just so I don't like get all sticky fingers. And then we're just going to like, rotate this as we go around. Has anybody been creating anything different? I've watched a lot of fun projects over the weekend, and I've enjoyed some of the things I've seen. Well, I've enjoyed everything I've seen made, but there's a lot of things that I've gotten some inspiration from that I definitely will be trying in the future, and shouting out those channels when I do try them, to give credit where credit's due. I would never want to like use somebody else's idea and not, give credit first for it. So, but yes, I've done this before. I did this. I know one time I did it with the strawberries. I did like strawberries in each one of these bubbles, and I know I did it with something else, but I can't like at the second think of what it is that I put in the other bubbles. I'm sure it will come to me, but if you scroll on my channel, I'm sure you'll find them. Well, I'm fairly new to YouTube, so it's not like I have an endless category of videos. I think this is number 38 of my videos, so it should be fairly easy to find. And I know quite a few of my videos were holiday videos, so if you don't look in, well, they're not really sectioned off as holiday or whatever, but you'll be able to tell, when it was Christmas or whatever. There was a big, well, a good handful of them that I did for a few weeks, holiday ones. I like doing holiday themed, projects, no matter what the holiday is. Like I had said around Valentine's Day, my favorite holiday is actually Valentine's Day, believe it or not. I know it's weird, like, and not really for reasons that you may think. Like, I just simply like the colors, and people are happy. Well, some people, a lot of single people may not be necessarily happy, but everybody should have somebody that loves them, right? Whether that's a significant other, a friend, family member. I know that that's not the case for all people. Some people don't have anybody, and I'm very aware of that. But I think the majority of people have at least, like, a friend or someone that loves them. So it's just the thought of love and, you know, um, happiness, that holiday brings to me. And, like, pink and purple are my favorite colors, and red. I love red too. So pink, purple, and red, big colors, holiday colors for that. So, it's just like, I guess, naturally attracts me. So I like, well, I love Valentine's Day. It's also, a few days before my birthday. So I don't know if that, like, has anything to do with it. Well, it's also a winter holiday, and love the winter. So, there's all of those things, I guess, can contribute towards it. Just like I love snow. I know most people don't like snow, but believe it or not, I do. I just don't like having to be out in it or to clean it up. But if I don't have to go out or I don't have to clean anything up, then I love it. It's great. We had like a huge snowstorm this year, like 30 inches. So, I mean, that was a little much, but I mean, it still was very beautiful. Like, from my bedroom, like, I was able to, like, stare out. I seen a actual owl, um, that I never see. And no, I don't think it was an owl, actually. Let me take that back. What am I saying? It wasn't an owl. It was a hawk. Um, I think I posted pictures on my Night Owl Facebook page, but I'm not sure. But I think I did. Um, that actually landed right on the tree in front of my bedroom window. Like, I seen it land, and I was like, "What? No way!" Because we have hawks around here, but not like in the neighborhoods. I see them mostly on, like, um, the reservation. When I say reservation, I don't mean like, a reservation. I mean, like, we call Fresh Pond Reservation, which is, um, our local water way where our water is, um, filtered out and sent through, to all of us. We call that the reservation. That's just the name of that place. And in that area, there's, like, surrounding that, the water, there is lots of wildlife, and they're kind of like, that area is preserved for nature. And, like, I would tend to see hawks over there a lot. Like, when I was younger, I would see them every once in a while. Like, there's a news story that, a hawk has made a nest somewhere or another, that they normally wouldn't on a big building, or something, in the neighborhood. But other than that, we don't really tend to see them too often in the neighborhood. So it was really cool that it landed there, and it sat there for a long while, and it was just, like, peaceful. It was still snowing, and there was no one around. It was probably looking for some food, hoping something would scatter across. It was during the day, so even though it was snowing, and it was very light out, and then the snow adding, making it, like, extra bright. I think it was, like, searching for something to eat. So for that, I felt bad. It's probably hungry, but it was, like, really great to watch. Just, like, to be able to sit and watch something, like, so majestic. Just sitting and being, like, just feet outside of my bedroom window. So that was cool to watch. I don't know why I'm, like, even rambling on about that right now, but that's what happened. Anyhow, we got that part done. And now, like that. Even though I'm going to pour resin there, so it doesn't really make a difference. But I'm going to just go ahead and wipe this down for now. And I am going to go ahead and figure out exactly what I'm going to put in the middle. Just decide on that for a second. And make sure I have everything together. And then I'll bring you back, because we can go ahead and do that part, since it's most likely going to be in clear. And then we'll just have to do the backing. So just give me a minute to get that stuff together, figure out what I'm going to do exactly, and then I'll bring you back and we'll continue. Okay, guys, so I'm back. And what I decided to use was, I have some of this, like, confetti, this, like, 4th of July confetti, where I have obviously a Statue of Liberty, an Uncle Sam hat, the words, USA. And I have these sunglasses. Sunglasses I'm not even 100% sure whether I'm going to use those or not, but I put them out just in case I decide to use them. I'm sorry, that's like supposed to be popped out of there. And then I also have over here some 4th of July confetti, not confetti, sprinkles. So in those I have these like firework big ones, and I have a couple of these larger star ones that I think I'll add. So that's what I think we're going to do. So what I want to do is go ahead and add some more clear resin to the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and spray the middle of this with some 91% isopropyl alcohol, just to also help with surface bubbles. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour this. And you don't really need like, a thick coat. We just want like thin, so that, it'll be clear on the top. You can obviously see these when I put them down, because like I said, after all of it cures, then we're going to go ahead and back coat this, with something a little more fun than just, clear. So put that in. I know that in the center, I want to go ahead and, hold on a second. Seems like I have something in there. Looks like a piece of hair or something. Maybe from my cat, probably. Man, no matter how much I do all I can to make sure there's never any of her cat hair around, I always seem to find random ones every now and then. Okay, the rest of this seems to me like it's looking really good. Everything's in its place. I don't have any bubbles. And I really like this Hey Clear resin. I normally would, if I'm going to do something like this, would put it through the debubbler. I didn't today because it just wasn't any need. There was no bubbles at all, so I just didn't bother. And as you can see, I still don't see any bubbles. I don't really even see any micro bubbles at this point, so I'm very happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the center and push it down. And I probably could have gone ahead and coated this first too, just to try to prevent bubbles, but I didn't want to make these a sticky mess, considering they still are plastic. I mean plastic paper. So I'm hoping I don't get any bubbles underneath that ruin things. I'm hoping it's okay. And it's this is made of the thicker scrapbook paper, so I don't think I'm gonna have any problems with it. I don't think it's gonna run or anything. I've used it before in other projects and I've had okay results. I mean, every now and then when I use a confetti, I do get some running, but that's usually if I spray alcohol on top of them. Then for sure, then they will run into the clear resin. But if I just put them directly into the resin, I tend to have better luck with this. And even the metal type confetti, not metal, but the metal looking more confetti. The mylar, I guess it's mylar confetti. If I put that in directly to the resin and I don't spray any alcohol over the top of it, I usually don't have any problems with any colors running or anything like that. So I'm just hoping that we again don't have any bubbles underneath it, right? So that's good. And then with letters, you have to remember to make sure that you are putting them upside down, because if I put it in this way, when we flip this coaster upside down, then the words are going to be upside down. So wherever you're going to place any letters that you use, you have to make sure that they're facing the right way. So upside down when you're using words, because when you flip your piece over, your words will be backwards. So it's important that you pay attention to that with whatever you're building or whatever you're creating. That would be, just awful if you go ahead and create something and you get all the way to the end and you go ahead and you flip it over and you realize, oh shoot, it's backwards. So that's the thing I try to pay attention to when I'm doing things. I also think I'm going to have another project kind of to go with this, maybe later on today or tomorrow, posted. Probably still using some of this confetti too, so be on the lookout for that. So that will be probably my next project, or at least one of the next ones within the next couple days, for sure. I'll have to go out there and see what everybody else has reposted today, and what they put out. I shouldn't have waited till the last minute to do my coasting through the week, but I got a little busy yesterday, and I thought I was going to have more time to do it. Now this is like a fairly simple project, so I thought like, oh, okay, I can just do this yesterday, be done, 1, 2, 3, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But yeah, time got away from me, and it didn't like happen the way I wanted it to. Oh, I just noticed that you guys could see that already, that it's like pulling away from the sides there, right? So there's not enough resin on the bottom of my coaster there, where all this stuff is. And I definitely want to make sure that there's enough resin down there on the bottom, so I don't have anything that's not like, that's just not like properly coated, and it's going to be like not like sticking to the mold but not have resin underneath or anything like that. That would be terrible. So I want to make sure that it's covered. The top of it I can go ahead and pour a little more over when I'm done, but like, I want to make sure there's enough where we're laying it down and stuff, if that makes sense. So okay, kind of like that. I think I will add the glasses. Just like that. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Cute. But you guys tell me what you think. Hopefully now that I told you that it won't run, it doesn't run, because, now that I probably said that, it could. It's just kind of a look I have sometimes, but alright, so, and then some of these I think would be good. Like, look like fireworks in the sky. I think that would be fun. Definitely fitting, right, for the holiday. Uh-oh. Dropped the star down there that I didn't mean to put in there. I'll get that afterwards. There we go. So I'll get it afterwards, but then I go ahead and like proceed to get it out now, right? That's what I do. Alright, I have one more of these. I guess maybe like over here. Like that. Like that. Yeah, I like that. Alright, and then I want to add, actually I do look like it's a little bit running in the red there. Of course it does. Hopefully if I leave it alone that won't happen. Maybe it's from like me moving it around all the time in there. It's just slightly a little bit red, but that's okay. And then I have some of these like stars. And I have a couple of these bigger ones. So I'll put those down a couple places. Has anybody else created any like cool 4th of July projects? Have you created any? If so, drop your like who you like your channel and what you've created in the comments. I would love to support you and watch what you've done, or if you've watched any cool things, drop that in the comments. let me know who made it so I can go ahead and support them and watch what they've created and see what else is out there. I'm sure there's a lot that I've missed in the last couple of days. So, and then this is a special 4th of July for us here in America. It's the 250th celebration of the 4th of July, of America's birthday. So this is a big one for us. So I think this is like appropriate. But what do you guys think in the comments? Do you like it so far? Do you think I should have done something differently so far? Tell me what you think. What would you have done differently? Or what else would you have used? I'm always interested to hear what other people have to say. So I feel like that's how we learn, right? It's like from watching others and like hearing what other people would do, differently or better, or, not even necessarily better, but use something different or whatever, what they like, what they don't like, You don't always have to agree on things, but it's cool to learn or hear what other people's perspectives are, their ideas on things. I think that's great. I mean, I learned resin from watching other people, and then, what I've taught myself, over the, failures and successes with projects I've made in the last few years that I started doing resin. And believe me, there has been lots of fails along the way. So I don't know anybody that's just like been perfect 100% of the time, all the time, especially in the beginning. I don't know any channel that is like that. And if they say they are, they're probably not being truthful about it. That I find that there's definitely a learning curve when you start to use resin, especially there's different kinds of resins, epoxy, deep pour, UV, polyurethane, like 1 hour quick setting. There's like all types of resins. So I'm sure that other people can relate to some failures along the way, especially when you're learning and you have to like get familiar with products. And it's not just the products, sometimes it's the brands, right? Some of the brands work better for one of us than they work for another for whatever reason. Sometimes it's the climate that we live in, which makes the products work differently. Could be lots of factors into things on why they work better for some of us than others. But I had a lot of different brands that I tried since I had started, and I really enjoy this Hakewear brand. I really have a lot of success with it. I really hardly have any bubbles. I did go ahead and buy a new the bubble machine, even though because mine had broken. I went ahead and bought another one, even though like I really don't have bubbles, but it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, I guess. So I did go ahead and buy one. It doesn't get very much use, so it almost feels a little wasteful at this point. But like I said, I'd rather have it, for something I might need in the future. But okay, I will stop rambling, talking your ear off at this point. I'll find something else to put the rest of this in, and I will go ahead and I will bring you back when this part is cured, and then we will back coat it in whatever I decide by that time that we'll use for the back coat, and then we will go from there. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys, so we're back. So this part's already cured. Our first part. It's cute when you flip it over. I did notice here that that red did run a little. Of course, when I say I don't have this problem, it happens, right? But I noticed it did slightly run right there. It's probably when I was moving it back and forth, kind of like rubbing it into the resin. I shouldn't have done that. So if you were to use something like this, don't rub it. Don't do what I did. Anyways, so for the backing, I was going to use like a solid white, but then with that red smudge, I decided I didn't want to do that because it would like really, stand out, even though it's just a little bit. So I wanted it to kind of just blend in. So what I did was I just took a mix of chunky glitters that I have. So there's a chunky red, a chunky blue, a chunky white, a chunky silver, and then there's some like silver stars, like holographic silver stars, and then there's some white like mylar stars mixed in here too. So it's just like a little chunky mix, and that's what we'll use to back this coaster. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna pour it into here just because I don't want to like overfill in this. I'm not sure like how much it would fill into this thing. Put that to the side. And then I have my Hey Clear resin, same resin, 1-to-1 epoxy resin. I have about, same thing, 60 mLs mixed up right here to the side. So we're just going to go ahead and mix this. Let's see. I think this mix is actually very pretty. Like reminds me of like the fireworks, so hopefully like it helps stand this piece out some, like makes all of this pop, and that it looks very Independence Day USA like, and happy birthday America. That's what I'm like hoping it says, like it gives that like party feel and celebration. 4th of July celebration for those that are not in the USA. 4th of July is a big holiday for us. We, celebrate, we usually like lots of cookouts, fireworks, people boating, just outdoor activities with family. Lots of it. Lots of cities have different fireworks on different days, good celebrations with the family. So, within the next couple of days, next week or so, it'll start, at the end of the month into the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all the way through. There'll be different days, different places. But I'm lucky that I'm so close to the city that I literally can see when the Boston does their fireworks. I can see them right from my window. But I also live right out on the river, the Charles River, which is right outside of like Harvard Square, Harvard University. So like give you guys like an idea. I live like within 5 minutes of Harvard University and 10 minutes of MIT, kind of in the middle. But I live near the water, near the river, where they do the head of the Charles Regatta and such. So that's where the fireworks would be shot from. So I can easily just like walk there in just, 2 minutes or so and watch it from there too. So I'm lucky for that. But from my room, I actually can see different cities when I'm sitting here crafting. So it's kind of cool. Like different days, I can see the different cities. Fireworks right from my window. Just like I can see like the historic Prudential Center. Oh man. Uh-oh. I should have probably added more glitter to this. I can see the historic Prudential Center building from my window, which they light up, different for each holiday or for different, days. Like it was like Autism Awareness Day, Fibromyalgia Day, stuff like that. They also light it up, the colors of all of those foundations. So it's cool because I can literally like sit here and see those lights. So when I did that autism awareness tray, which I like really am proud of, then I did a light up for autism awareness, and I had the tray that lit up like that. I kind of took that as like inspiration from the lights that they light up in the building for autism awareness. So, and like people put lights on their porch of those colors, and like I said, there's meaning behind all of the colors I explained in my video. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, that would be a cool video to watch. It's my autism awareness tray, and it was from Slay a Tray Thursday, and that was just a couple months ago, maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. I'm not even sure, probably 2 months ago at this point. But it did come out really cool, and I was proud to take part of that. I wish that I had like felt better and I had known about the fibromyalgia collaboration, because I myself have fibromyalgia, and I would have liked to take part in that, but I didn't know about it at the time, and I really wasn't feeling too great at the same time. Sorry for that interruption. If you guys could hear that, my son in the background just stopping in to say hi. But I can do nothing all day and no one comes in, but it's always the minute I start recording, someone walks in the door, but no big deal. That's what that was. If you guys heard it, I apologize for the interruption. So that worked out good, right? I did have enough glitter for that. I mean, I could have, if I had to mix more up, I could have, but, I think that worked out perfect. Like, that seems like it's the perfect amount for that. I'm just hoping that, like, it disperses well. It's not, like, all just, clear in the center because I added that clear to that second thing. I don't think so. It looks pretty well even to me, but I'm just going to go ahead and stir it. Like, the bottom is already cured, so it's not harming anything by doing this. Obviously, if I had something underneath, I wouldn't be doing this, but that is totally cured, so there's no big deal to do this on top of here. Well, I'd rather like do this now and like make sure I've got a fairly good mix of it everywhere, rather than wait till it's cured and then I have these issues that I have to try to fix or deal with. This mold is pretty predominantly full. It looks it's actually pretty all the way full at this point. So, there's not much room to try to fix the back unless I wanted to like do a small, other coat or paint it of some sort or something. But to me, I think it's perfect. It looks like the right amount. Like I said, it looks like, to me, it reminds me of explosions of fireworks and colors and just happiness in general. As a child, the 4th of July really meant something to me because my father served in Vietnam and he didn't have to. You couldn't tell my father that he wasn't born an American citizen. He was born in Canada and he came to the U.S. where he met my mother. My mother and him were actually already married when he voluntarily signed up to join and go serve for Vietnam because he loved this country so much that he gave up citizenship in Canada, didn't even want dual citizenship like his sister had. He gave it up completely and just became an American citizen. And he could have done that because he was married to my mother, but he chose to stand up and for what he believed in. And he believed in this country and freedom. And he went and he served. And, when he came back, he had a really hard time. A lot of PTSD and Agent Orange and other things. So the 4th of July, the flag in general, has always meant a lot to my family, especially to me, because as a child, my father would take me to these 4th of July celebrations on the river that I was talking about earlier. They're called Pops, Boston Pops. Like, that's the name of our symphony orchestra, but they perform at the 4th of July celebration on the river. And as a kid, he always used to take me into Boston. So we lived much further away than we are now. Well, not much further away. I'd say about 20 minutes further away. But in terms of distance to Boston, we had to, walk and take trains and whatever into the city. But we did that. And I always remember it was like a special time between him and I. My brother is 10 years older than me. So by the time, I was old enough to do those things, he was out with his friends and didn't want to be bothered. But that was the time that I spent with my dad. And we used to go to the river, watch those fireworks. Every 4th of July, we used to go watch the fireworks. Every New Year's celebration, those were times that I had with him, that I'll remember and cherish forever. So the flag, I stand up for the flag. I stand up for the U.S. and what they believe in. My father was a proud American, and I'd like for anyone to tell him otherwise. He died a proud American, had a full military funeral. That was actually very beautiful. They did a really nice job. So I'm grateful for that. But he served this country and he stood for what he believed in, and he stood for this flag. And it's sad to see the state that we're in now, and all the hate that's going on in our country and all over the world. He would be very disappointed to see all of that. Like a lot of our soldiers went over there and sacrificed to protect us. And now it seems like we're fighting, for what? Sometimes, I know there's two sides to everything, but I'm just saying it would be better, as a country if we all found a way to, live, peacefully. We can all agree to disagree on things, but we should be able to, as adults, sit down and work things out. It shouldn't take our government to shut down. It shouldn't take us to go to war to handle things. We teach our children to be adults, well, not to be, we eventually to be adults, but we teach our children to be responsible for their actions. We teach our children to have conflict resolution, to sit down and communicate. Don't just attack, don't hit. But then as we become adults, what do we actually, role model to them? The same behavior we tell them not to do. It's just like, on Halloween, we tell our children what? Never talk to strangers, don't take candy from strangers. And then on Halloween, we send our kids to strangers' house to get candy. The hypocrisy is just crazy when you sit back and think about things, but that's all for another day. But anyways, the flag means something to me. The memories mean something to me, and like this one is dedicated to my father. Dad, I love you, and I miss you, and I thank you for your service and for being the great dad that you were to me. And before I go, before I let you go now, I'll bring you back when this is cured, of course, so we can demold. I also wanted to just say that I wanted to offer my condolences to Sheila from Reptiles and Resin, who I've seen on her post that her husband passed away yesterday. They've been together 39 years, 4 kids and 11 grandchildren. So if you guys could go ahead and keep her in your prayers, that would be very, appreciated. If you haven't followed her or watched her channel, she's great. I learned a lot from her. That's Reptiles and Resin. I will drop that in my comments section so that if you guys want to go and check her channel out, like, subscribe, share, I'm sure she would appreciate it. Normally she would post daily. Obviously, with something going on like this, I'm sure her schedule is definitely going to change for a while, but I don't know what that would be. But it would be nice for the community to support her. I'm sure lots of other channels have already done that, but I just wanted to remember to say that. And Sheila, I wish you, healing, strength. I'll be praying for you and your family, and stay strong. And I know this is a tough time, but you're a strong woman, and I believe you'll get through this. And they're all your whole family's looking up to you now, so it's up to you to lead them. And I know that you will make your husband proud. You've already made me proud of you. So on that note, I will bring you guys back when this cures, and we will move on to happier times. All right, guys, see you in the next one. Okay, guys. Hey, so we're back, and it is finally done. It is cured and ready to go. So as you see here, I have this little cherry shaker mold. Well, shaker, not a mold anymore. Obviously, it's made. It came from a little shaker mold, and that's what I'll turn it into, a little shaker keychain. I used the remaining little drops of resin I had left, added a couple drops of the alcohol ink in Ranger and Crimson, and got this beautiful cherry red. And at some point I will add, some inclusions into it and put the acetate over, and the resin the top, and turn it into a keychain. And when I do that, I will bring it back and show you, well, I won't bring it back. I will show you during another video what it looks like. For now, it's just an extra I'm going to put to the side. So I just want to make sure you guys know I don't waste any resin. And here we go. So here's our final look. You guys ready? I know I am. It's getting late, so I really got to get this done. Today has just really got away from me. And I thought I would have much more accomplished. Like, thanks ADHD. I like have have it starting like 28 things and finishing 2. Well, not just with like resin, just in life. So anyhow, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I like it. What do you guys think? I think it came out really cute. The bubbles look really good and clear with the beads in it. You can't even tell they're beads. You can't see the holes at all. But you guys tell me what you think about that, and how you like these bubble bead coasters that I've made. So in the past, like I said before, I use strawberries. I don't know why I can't think of what I used the other one for. I think it was candy. It definitely was. It was little like lollipops and other little candies. So I think that was around Valentine's Day, perhaps, maybe. And the strawberry one was a couple weeks ago, if you guys would like to check that out and see. I did similar with the bubbles, and I think they came out really cute. But this one came out awesome. And you can always add a top coat to it and add some extra shine. But I'm going to leave it the way it is because this one is just for me. I told you guys a story about my dad and, you know, the flag meant to our family. So I'm going to keep this for myself. I think I'll create maybe a little stand just to keep it on as a little, memento and a reminder, you know, that he's always still with me. So on that note, guys, tell me what you guys think in the comments. So leave an emoji, like the video, share. If you haven't become a subscriber, what are you waiting for? I'd love to have you join the Night Owl family. Come on in, it's free to join. So, and you know, this is where imagination, creativity never have a bedtime. And Night Owls, and so if you can't sleep, you know, this is the place to come see. But like I said, please hit the subscribe button and then hit that hit that notification bell so you can be updated the next time I post a new video, which will be shortly. And that will be all of our video for today. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know it was quite a little, you know, a few steps along the way. I think it came out great. But again, tell me what you guys think below. If there's anything that you'd like to see me do on this channel, leave it in the comments below, or you can reach me, and my contact information is in the description of my channel. If you'd like to see me mix resin from start to finish, or tell you the difference between epoxy versus UV versus eco resin, I would gladly do that too. I know some people may be new. I know a lot of people of you already are content creators or watch other content creators, so I don't necessarily show the steps of me mixing my resin, because I know that a lot of you are familiar with it and I don't want to be boring or waste anybody's time. So I just kind of skip that step. But if anybody is new and would like to see it, please don't hesitate. I will gladly go ahead and make a video step by step and show you exactly what I do and what I use, how I measure it, you know, how I mix it, what to look for, etc. You know, I'd be more than happy to do that for you, because, you know, I had to start there too. So, and I had a lot of mistakes and fails along the way. But, you know, I watched a lot of great YouTubers, and their support, you know, that they didn't even know they were giving me by teaching me techniques was really great to have. So on that note, we are done for tonight. Again, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, share, all of those YouTube-y things, and I will see you guys in the next video. Happy birthday, America. Bye, guys.